I bumped into Mary at the building one day. Our mutual friends were hilarious and easygoing, and it didn't take long for us to click. Things moved pretty quickly from there. One date, then another, and before we knew it, we were living together. And honestly, the wedding was almost inevitable. Our life together was close to perfect. Mary was the model partner. She'd cook dinner, keep things fun in bed, and show up at any social gathering with a smile. And those gatherings, they were becoming more and more frequent. But during all this, my career was booming. I found myself stuck at work late most nights. And slowly that started to become an issue between us. What used to be small disagreements turned into full-blown arguments. One afternoon, after another heated argument, I sat down at a cafe with my best friend James, venting. She's still pissed at me. Can you believe it? She's sulking just because I couldn't make it to some apartment party. It wasn't just her there, though. Lily was there too, and I've been busting my ass for both of us. James gave me a tired look. Have you guys been out on a real date in ages? Of course, we hang out all the time. Just the other day, we went shopping and then for a walk. You know, the usual stuff, I protested. James cut me off. Domestic stuff. I get it. But how about a movie? Or flowers at least? Well, yesterday, Lily was whining about the same thing. No flowers, no surprises. She says you're changing, that you're too busy with work, and you've started avoiding her. James sighed, shaking his head. He had a point. So, what do you think? Should I try the flowers? Maybe that's a good start. James smiled. Yeah, maybe you should. But, honestly, it'll help. Trust me. I started making more of an effort with Mary. You know, women can be delicate creatures, and I realized I'd been drifting, almost letting go of that spark. I mean, if you stop trying, you stop feeling, right? So I decided to get back on track. I was doing better, but it still didn't feel like enough. I needed a way to show her how much I cared, something that would leave no room for doubt. And then, just as luck would have it, Mary's birthday was coming up. That was my chance. I decided to go all in, a surprise party with the guys. We'd gather at home, keep it low-key, like we used to back in the day. We planned everything, games, balloons, a cake presents, the whole shebang. And I sent Mary to the salon in the morning. After all, it was her special day. She deserved to feel pampered. A few hours before the big moment, I dropped a hint about celebrating her birthday, but kept the details under wraps. So, when we pulled up to the house after the salon, she looked a little let down. But the second we stepped inside, everything changed. "Happy birthday, Mary," rang out as soon as I flipped the light switch in the hallway. The instant she heard those words, a devilish grin spread across her face, and she threw her arms around my neck, her mood completely shifting. It was like a scene from a movie. Dancing, laughter, good food, and even better company. When it came time to present the gifts, Mary's face lit up especially when she saw the annual subscription to the dance studio. "You're cancelling it." "How did you know?" she asked, practically in awe. I had my eye on it for a while, and yeah, I guessed right. I replied, feeling a little smug. "I can't believe you got it right. And you always say I'm the inconsiderate one." She laughed. "I take it all back," she added, planting a quick kiss on my cheek. I was absolutely thrilled that I managed to pull it off and make her happy. But honestly, the real mastermind behind the whole thing was Edward, my best friend. He's the one who helped me with the ideas and gave me that push when I needed it most. A couple of hours passed, and the guests had loosened up from the champagne and were starting to tire from all the dancing. I figured it was about time to bring out the birthday cake. I asked Mary to clear some of the dishes from the table. James volunteered to help and keep her busy while I set up. "I'll light the candles from the balcony," I said, and went to get everything ready. Everything was nearly perfect, but then I realized I'd forgotten something crucial: the lighter. I rushed to the kitchen to grab it, planning to tell James to keep Mary occupied for a couple more minutes. But when I walked back into the room, I saw something I hadn't expected. James and Mary, both frozen like teenagers caught red-handed. They quickly jumped apart as if I hadn't seen anything. Before I could even process it all, the anger hit me like a freight train. I stormed over to James and, without thinking, slapped him across the face with all the fury I'd been holding in. What happened next was chaos. Friends tried to pull me away from him. Mary was crying, screaming. One of the other girls was yelling, and I could hear the sound of broken dishes crashing to the floor. The next thing I knew, I woke up in my room with a bottle in my hand. The party, well, it wasn't exactly a success. The next day, Mary showed up and started packing her things. There was no need for words. We both knew this was it. The end was inevitable, and the divorce was on the horizon. A couple of weeks later, James and I met up and had a long talk. It turned out that on that fateful night, when Mary and I were in the middle of celebrating, something happened. She wasn't just mine anymore. James kept his distance, not wanting to get involved in the situation, but as the relationship between Mary and me grew colder, she began to approach her more often when I was late at work. He tried to keep his distance at first, but eventually gave up. I never got full information about whether they were still in touch. In the end, what had started as a cheerful surprise party turned into a bitter revelation. I lost my wife and my best friend in one fell swoop. Our mutual friends quickly turned their backs on both Mary and James, no longer trusting them, worried that one of them might wreck someone else's life. That night, something inside me shifted. I started hating surprises, and the noise of big parties just felt suffocating. I became more cautious about the people I kept close, the friends I trusted, and most of all, who I chose to share my life with.